On this episode of the Mompreneur Show, I'm talking with Robin Long. She's a wife and mother of two littles and an online Pilates instructor over at thebalancedlifeonline.com. And today we're going to be talking about how Robin created a successful online Pilates training business that really stands out among the others, because I feel like there's so many other trainers online, and Robin stands out in such a beautiful way because she has been able to attract tens of thousands of busy women to her training. So I'm so impressed with the way she's been able to grow a beautiful, adorable family as well as her business at the same time. I'm your host, Vicky, and this is the show that helps you win in business without losing at home. So before we get into the show, I would like to thank two wonderful companies for helping make this show possible. And one of them is Made On, and Made On is an all natural skincare brand with chapsticks and hard lotion, and it's run by a husband and wife team, and they make natural skincare that has as little as 3 ingredients. It helps people with cracked dry skin and eczema. So head on over to hardlotion.com and enter the code Vicky to get your $5 off. So enter code VICKY for $5 off, and $5 will take you a long way because all their items are really affordable. And of course, Audible. And Audible is an incredible company that hosts hundreds of thousands of audiobooks that you can listen to in the car, on the go, or while washing the dishes, like I always do, in my case. So if you go to audible.com/Vicky, you will get a free audiobook and a 30-day trial by signing up again at audible.com/Vicky. It will have you sign up and give you your credit card information, but you can totally just enter that and then cancel in the next 30 days, but you'll still get that free book for you to keep. All you have to do is just keep your Audible app on your phone, and you will be able to access the book even if you're not signed up to their recurring services. So that's what I always thought. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna close my account and I won't be able to access my books. No, you close your account and you can still access your book. All right, awesome. So Mama, that's it for now. Thank you so much for being here. Robin, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It's so good to have you finally, and I am so impressed with everything that you've been doing online. And I want to ask you, how did your journey begin?
Oh, well, first of all, it's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
That's always an interesting question, because I feel like it's taken a lot of twists and turns. But I will say that I was working in kind of a traditional 9 to 5. It was actually commercial real estate development, and trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. Wasn't very happy, but more than that, because it was a great job, more than that, I was just finding myself really stressed, in a lot of pain, experiencing anxiety in a way that I had never experienced before. And I couldn't figure out what was going on with myself and my body. And I just wasn't feeling like myself. I didn't put together at the time that it was related maybe to the stressful job, and I was engaged in the stressful time of life. So during that time, I got more and more into Pilates as a way for me to really exercise at the time. That's what I thought. But it ended up being so much more than that for me. And a huge part of it was just reconnecting with my body again, which had tremendous effects in terms of my stress, my mysterious pains that were real pains, went away once I started reconnecting to my body, doing Pilates, reducing that stress. And that is how Pilates entered my life. And so I ended up continuing with my job, but really focusing a lot more on Pilates just as an exercise form and as a way to keep myself balanced. And then decided that it was something I wanted to pursue full time, that's really where my heart, my passion, it was so life-changing for me that I needed to pursue it. So at that point I left. Well, actually, I should say I started doing my training for Pilates while I was working in my 9 to 5 job.
Wow.
And then eventually left that job to pursue Pilates on time or full time. And from there, I did traditional Pilates training for a few years in studios, private clients, classes. And in 2011-ish, I started taking it online, and that's what I'm doing now.
Wow. So how many years did you do it in person before you took it online?
I taught for about 3.5 years
Wow. Okay.
um,
That's
before
amazing.
taking it online. Yeah.
That's amazing. So you really gave yourself the time to become truly an expert in Pilates.
Yes, 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 yes.
So where did you have the shift and like, oh, I want to go online?
Um, it's, I was, okay, we had moved a handful of times. So I first started in Santa Barbara doing training, and then my husband went to grad school. So we moved up to the Bay Area. And when you do that, you spend all this time building up a clientele, you spend all this time
Of
building your
course.
business, and then you just pick up and move and you have to start from zero again. The only thing you have going for you now is more experience. But
Yeah.
so I moved to the Bay Area, built up a whole nother clientele, packed my schedule. But I knew we were probably going to move again. And so I was sitting with that, like, okay, I'm going to have to start over
Wow.
again every time we move if we want to move in our life. B, I had maxed out really quickly. So I was teaching about 8 hours a day. Um, and that's a lot. But keep in mind, people always think like, wow, you're doing so much Pilates. When you're teaching Pilates, you're actually not doing Pilates all day. So you're teaching for 8 hours a day, but that's still really exhausting.
Yeah.
But I was teaching 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, and I was maxed out not only on an emotional and physical level,
Hmm.
but an income level. When you're getting paid by the hour, when you can't teach anymore, like I realized really quickly, okay, so this, I kind of feel like this is it. Like, as far as a career level goes, it wasn't even just about the money, but just growth potential. You want to continue working towards things. And I felt like I had maxed out pretty quickly. So at that point, I thought, okay, I want to move again. I know we're going to move. I also want to have kids. This was before I had kids.
Yeah.
And so, what is a way for me to take my passions and take my work and make it more flexible so that I don't have to be paid by the hour and then I can do it from anywhere?
Wow.
And additionally, I was hugely passionate about Pilates, but we'll get probably into this a little bit more. What I'm really, really passionate about is the approach and the whole mindset behind it, and how it's all connected: our bodies, our food, our well being, our parenting, everything is connected. And so a blog was a way for me to communicate
Mm.
that and bring it all together.
And so
So the
when did you
blog came
start the
first.
blog?
That was around 2000. Well, if I'm honest, my first like blog post I ever put out into the world was probably 2010. And it wasn't until 2011 that I got like kind of a nice-ish website and made
Wow.
it a little bit more formal. Uh,
Wow.
and then, yeah,
Wow.
Pilates programs sort of followed from there. It was all very gradual.
Very cool. Okay, so how were you able to attract your now customers by having a blog?
Yeah, so this is a question I get a lot because as more and more people are going online,
Of
they
course.
have this great idea, but they're like, where do I get people? Right.
Yeah.
And so for me, I started as a blogger first. I wasn't selling anything. I had my in person business, but I started to blog, to write, to share, and to build an online community.
Okay.
So I spent a lot of time just blogging. I was writing 2 to 3 blog posts a week.
Wow.
Um, and I did that actually every week up until this last year.
Oh my gosh,
Uh,
that's a lot. Can we like stop there? Like how that is a lot. Like coming from a
yeah.
content creator, that is a lot of work. So how were you able to do that?
Well, the good news is, when you kind of aren't, my standards were low, right? So I
Okay.
was just like, you know what, I'm just going to put stuff out there. It wasn't for me in the beginning, it wasn't super strategic. It was just,
Okay.
how can I share my passion, share about Pilates, share what I'm learning in my life? And so when it's a little bit more from that personal blogger perspective, it's a little bit easier than say it is now, when it's like this
Yes.
really, really strategic, well thought out content. But I was just really dedicated. And the gift at that time was my husband was in grad school. So he was gone every night from like 5, or he would leave at 3 p.m. and he would get home at 11 p.m.
Wow.
So I had all this time where I was just like watching Real Housewives on the couch. I'm like, well, I might as well use this um,
Exactly.
to build something. And so I just committed to, and as bloggers, back when the landscape has shifted a little bit,
For
but when
sure.
blogging was just the thing, most people were doing like every day blogging. And so I was actually on the lighter end by just doing 3 days a week. But
Wow. So
yeah,
I love that you said it wasn't really strategic. It was just you sharing in hopes to help someone else. And I feel
yeah,
like that's how a lot of really good blogs started, is when people really just from the heart, they just want to share what they want to share. But because a lot of people, they try to mess with SEO, they try to fool the system, and Google caught on to that, and they've done some major changes a few times in the past decade, that completely overhauled the way they crawl through websites. And so, like all the blogs that were strategic based on SEO research, they went down like
yeah,
significantly. So I love that you really took this natural approach, and I feel like that is the key. As ladies who you guys are watching online now, it's the key, like really just really blogging from your heart and really teaching someone like what is my reader going to learn from me from my blog post
mm-hmm.
versus the Google or whatever
Yeah,
SEO
totally.
spiders crawl over my website and make it and rank it higher. So I love that you shared that, Robin.
Yeah, and that is really the key and foundation
Yeah,
for connecting with people, right? That
absolutely.
I am now in sort of some online business circles, and it's like, whoa, how did you get that engagement? And it's like, well, I've been writing to these people and connecting with these people,
Yeah,
my online community, for a lot of years. Not that it has to take as long as it has to take a long time, but it's that personal
yeah,
connection versus just trying to fool the system or just get
exactly.
SEO. Like then people don't have that connection with you. They don't feel like they know you. And that has been a huge gift to me as I've grown a business. I have members now who have been reading since my blog was, you know, so embarrassingly new and simple, but they're now still clients to this day.
Exactly. And I love that. And people connect with people, not, keyword based blog posts. And Robin, I love that you also shared that it doesn't have to take long, but it does take a while. It does take a while to build that momentum, to build that online persona, well, not persona, no, online audience. And
Yeah.
so your words are really encouraging to us. So thank you so much for sharing that. So I really want to talk about going back into your journey with the move, and how were you able to rebuild your client base so quickly? What did you
Yeah.
do? What are some of the strategies that you did?
Oh, well, that's a good question. So you mean like my in-person training
Yes,
when I moved?
yes, yes.
Okay. Yeah. So I basically had to be willing to do anything, right? In the beginning
Wow.
to not, so I had as my job's a little different than people. So as a Pilates instructor in the fitness world,
Mm-hmm.
you end up working the hours that most people are off. But I really didn't want to do that. So I found
Interesting.
a balance for myself where I said, okay, I am not going to work weekends because I need that time with my husband. He was in that crazy grad school schedule. So we needed to protect our weekends. And in the fitness industry, that's actually kind of unheard of to not work weekends because there's tons of classes on Saturdays and Sundays. But I said, I'm not going to work weekends, but I still had to make some kind of sacrifices if I wanted to grow my business. So I did work all the early mornings. So I was at the studio by 5:30 every morning, teaching classes 5 days a week. And sort of one of those like you gotta do what you gotta do. Those are the times that are available, and I've got to build up my clientele again. So I took on those kind of classes, and I gave it everything I had. And one of the things that I really love to do is find that special touch with, like,
Hmm.
how could my class be different? than just an average class at a gym. So whether that be ways that I start the class by trying to get people, starting little rituals with people of setting intentions for classes, little things in the class. But more than that, I loved doing things like writing random emails to clients, just saying, hey, I just wanted to congratulate you. I've seen you in class every week and you've made great progress on your, planks or whatever it is. And just say, keep up
Wow.
the great work. I would, on Thanksgiving, I would buy Starbucks gift cards for all my clients and say, I just want to thank you for your business. So because it's a massive world, the fitness, there's so
Yes.
much competition. And so for me, it was how people like to be noticed, they like to be appreciated.
Exactly.
So how can I bring that into my business? And that paid off really well. My classes had wait lists, like my schedule was packed. And I really think it was just from giving that extra little bit of personal attention and really caring about people rather
Mm.
than just showing up and leaving.
Robin, that is so powerful. Okay, so no wonder you're able to stand out so significantly online. Seriously, there's a ton. I mean, online space is also really full with like fitness instructors and yoga instructors and like all kinds of online training for fitness. But you truly stand out. And I'm like, okay,
Oh, thank
duh.
you.
Like what you have been doing, what you have been building up towards this is truly remarkable. And the fact that you were giving these little gifts and sending these little personal emails is incredible. And it reminds me of this quote that people will forget what you say, but they will never forget how you made them feel.
Absolutely. I love that quote.
Yes. And like when you made them feel good, they're going to go and shout from the rooftops about your business, about your classes. And I feel like that's exactly what they did because
Yeah.
obviously your classes were all full and now you're reaching tens of thousands of women around the world and it's so incredibly inspiring. Seriously.
Oh, thank you.
Okay,
Thank
so let's move into the online space now. So how did you
Okay.
transition from being an in-person instructor, having this blog, and then offering these online, beautiful online videos to your clients?
Well, thank you. I will tell you that they did not start out as beautiful. I was blogging. I had this, predicament that I was sharing like, okay, I'm going to want to move. I'm going to want to have kids. I don't want to
Yes.
work 8 hours a day teaching Pilates every day for the rest of my life. So I thought, okay, how could I create some of this in an online space? And additionally, since I was moving, my clients were wanting to still work with me, but I was leaving them. So there was sort of this problem there of like, okay, how could I create something that they could still kind of work with me, even if they're living in
Mm,
the Bay Area and I'm in Colorado, which was where we moved next. So I created my first online program. It was not beautiful. It was in my guest bedroom. Um, I This is literally what I did. I set up my iPhone. I propped it up like on a hamper with books, and I put an egg crate behind it to try to deaden the sound a little bit because it was a hardwood floor room. And I would crawl over, press play, crawl back to my mat, and teach a Pilates class and record it and upload it. And I didn't know how to use iMovie. I didn't know how to do any of it. But I just kind of figured it out. And I figured out how to use MailChimp. And I said, okay, what if I created it? Every week they get a workout, every week they get a meal plan. I partnered with a nutritionist. Basically, I just figured it out. One of the things I've come back to is um, I get a lot of people who come to me and say, "How do you do it?" or ask for advice. And you just have to do something and then keep improving upon it. So I think I was blessed in the fact that I was sort of before doing this before there was a lot to compare it to. Whereas
mm,
now I think people feel like they need to come out the gates and have this beautiful, amazing, perfect product or program. But I didn't see that, but I also wasn't looking for it. I was just focused on what I was doing. And
yeah.
so I come back to the idea of just taking imperfect
Yes.
action and just do something, because you can sit with your ideas, you can sit with the concept, but if you don't actually put something out there, you're not going to make any progress. So that's how I initially went into the online space. And then it's just, again, iterated and been years of tweaking it and growing. And changing. So,
Okay, so I'm huge on the idea of imperfect action, and I know we
mhm.
had an email conversation, and you mentioned you want to talk about this, and I love that. And I know there are so many mamas watching us live who are literally sitting on their ideas. Ladies, you know who I'm talking to. They have these incredible ideas, these incredible visions of what they want their future to look like, but they are literally like they can't get themselves to start a blog or start a YouTube channel for years,
Yeah.
honestly. And
Yeah.
ladies, again, you know exactly who I'm talking to. So, Robin, can you give us a word of advice to us who have not been really moving forward because of that? It has to be perfect because of like, oh, what if I'm not good enough? What's your advice for them?
Ah, so many. Okay. A couple of things. Um, on a really, well, let's see, on sort of like a mindset level, people are often surprised that I don't really follow hardly any other fitness bloggers on professionals on Instagram. I don't read their blogs. I'm not on their email lists. Um, because first of all, it just started that way sort of naturally. But then I realized it messes with my creativity, um, because you may have this amazing idea that is your idea and you came up with it. For me, the creativity is my favorite part of this job. And then you see something that someone else has done that's sort of similar or is the same thing. And then you go, okay, I can't do it now because they did it, and it just gives you another excuse to not put your idea or your product out there. Additionally, it just makes you compare, right? I started with this terrible setup, no lighting, you guys, no lighting. Like it was dark, it was fuzzy. Um, and if I was comparing it to someone who was either farther down the road in their career or had a huge budget, I chose to build a business with no debt, not, putting things on credit cards, not that some very successful people do, but I didn't. If I was comparing with that, I wouldn't have put anything out there because you've got that in your mind. So I would say on a very, very like daily practical level is watch who you follow, stay in your lane. Don't worry about what other people are doing. If anybody you follow that you think, oh, they're better or they're doing what I want to do, just unfollow them. Get that out of your space. You don't have to have that, right? Um,
Wow. Okay, let me just say that is so powerful because I, as a content creator, I feel like you're right. Like I feel like I always have to be up on date with what everyone's doing, like
yeah.
following everybody on the email list, which is so overwhelming. But you're saying to literally unsubscribe from the emails and really focus on what you're doing and what you're creating.
That has helped me tremendously. And I'd say now I do follow like a little bit. I
Of
stay up
course.
on sort of like what's going on in the industry, and oh, how's that working for other people, and how can we be different? How can we set ourselves apart? But for the most part, and like definitely in the beginning, I found that for me to be really discouraging, rather than just feeling like, oh my gosh, I have this great idea. I'm going to try it. I'm going to share it, before there were opportunities to put that fire out just by comparing.
Oh, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. So that is really, really good advice, Robin.
Yeah,
Thank you so much. Oh my
you're
gosh.
welcome.
Okay,
So
so go
I would
ahead.
also add on a really practical level, something that I never did, which I wish I would have, I've started doing this year, is consider like beta testing. So if you have a program or a course or even a product, is there a way that you can get it out to a small group, so that if you're too scared to like go public and be like, here's my new Etsy course or here's my new product, um, could you consider inviting a small group of people to try it? And so you're putting it out there, you're seeing how it works. That way, it doesn't have to be perfect. The biggest of big in the industry do this. So it's a very normal thing. You put it out to a small group, either for a reduced cost or for free, and you let them give you feedback and help you make the product better so that then you can be a little bit more confident when you finally go big with it.
And Robin, I agree with you completely. Beta testing has been huge in the online industry, but it has really helped me too. Because sometimes when you create something, or when you, like, I created a group coaching program, and I didn't really enjoy it myself. So it's like, but I would have never known
Yeah,
if I wouldn't get all those ladies
exactly.
together and do a beta test, because that's the thing. You figure out if it's gonna work for your people
Yes.
and if it's gonna work for you too.
And
So
you, totally. We're doing a
exactly.
beta kind of pilot. We're calling a pilot group right now within my membership site. And I'd say it's just as much for us to decide if this is something it's worth our, time and energy and something we want to do, just as much to see if it works for them. Totally agree.
Exactly. And I mean, companies like Facebook does beta testing. So
Yeah.
that's why
Yeah, exactly.
they release certain features to some users, and not to others. So very, very interesting. I really love that concept, Robin. That's really, really good. Thank you so much for sharing. So I really want to move towards a little bit of the technical aspect of your current business, because
Sure.
I know, you started with taking videos, you running,
Yeah.
pressing record, and now you're obviously in, oh my gosh, like, I just cannot say, you guys, after the show, go on to the balancelifeonline.com. It's right under Robin's name right there. You go there and check out her site. It's absolutely incredible. Sign
Oh,
up for her 21-day challenge. It's, oh my gosh, you're gonna be like, ah. Okay, so your videos are absolutely amazing. The way your site is beautiful, the way you present everything. What tools do you use? Like, how did you come here where you are? Like, what are some of the
yeah.
websites, membership site? Like, what do you use?
Sure. So I have a WordPress site. I've always been on WordPress,
Yeah.
and I designed the first one myself, which was interesting looking. Then I made a smaller investment a few years later to have a designer um, make a prettier site for me. Um, I would say if you want to really up level your brand and your game, pay for someone to
Yeah.
design it for you. So our site has gone through multiple iterations. So we just did a relaunch this past year, and I have a designer, a developer who works with us on kind of a contract basis. He's amazing. If anyone's looking for a good designer, find Ted at Contemplate Design. He's amazing. Hopefully he's busy, but he's amazing. So he built our site, and it's on WordPress, and we use Paid Memberships Pro, which is just a WordPress plugin
Mm-hmm.
for our membership site. But again, at this point, we have a fair amount of custom stuff. So he
Yes.
really handles a lot of that. Prior to this, we were using S2 Member. There's a lot of options.
Yes, there are.
And I think the most important thing is finding one that you know how to use, or you can pay someone who knows how to use it well. There's got to be one or the other there. And I also know a lot of people who use Kajabi,
Yes.
um, and have great success with that. And Kajabi is very user friendly if you're trying to do it a little bit more yourself for like an online course or even membership area.
I agree. And thank you so much for sharing your technical side of things. But okay, your photos and videos, who does them? Like, how did you, like, I'm just so impressed with how you go out to the beach with your yoga mat and just make these beautiful videos. Okay, how did you bribe your husband, or how does that work?
I know. You know what? Most of lately has been my friend who's a photographer. So I've gone through, and again, the lesson here, right, is you're going to go through a lot of different things. So I've used a lot of different photographers. Some have been really expensive and some not as much. And
Yeah.
lately, since we recently relocated back to Santa Barbara, my friend has been taking pictures for me. She's extremely talented. She lives down the street. So we just do photo shoots every now and again for different programs that are coming up. And it really helps to be in Santa Barbara. It's really pretty.
Mm-hmm.
I was in Colorado in the dead of winter before, and I had a little bit harder time coming up with some creative images. But for me, I really love the branding aspect. Like that, I love that as much as I love Pilates. So I like to have the creative vision. And what I always want the balanced life to be for people is a place that is calming and refreshing and rejuvenating and not busy. Um, because we have so much of that in our life, right?
Yes.
There's so much busyness, especially as moms. It's just constant screaming and toys. And so when people come to do their Pilates workouts, I want them to feel refreshed, clear. So I like a lot of white space, a very simple design. And so I try to do that, whether it be through pictures and videos. And I will say, we also have another friend here in Santa Barbara who's our videographer, and he's just fantastic. So I couldn't do it without them now.
Okay, so you absolutely have achieved what you have envisioned. The branding is absolutely spot on because the moment I hit your site or the moment I press play on one of your videos, oh my gosh, calm, just really grounded. The scenery is absolutely gorgeous. And so like seriously, Robin, you got that down. It's
Oh,
amazing.
good.
And
I'm so glad.
I love that you're so open that it was always a work in progress and that
Yeah.
you didn't start like that. And another thing I want to comment on is that friends, like having friends who do amazing work is so amazing. And I think like I really want to just confirm what you just said. We can never go at it alone in business.
Yes.
There's always a need for collaboration, for really working with each other, partnering up, and not necessarily in business partnership, but like on projects. And it makes it so much more fun. And together you will rise. And like
Yeah.
that's the thing, is that together you will lift each other up. So I
Yeah.
love that.
And there's so many opportunities if you're new and you're starting out, for trades. You could
Yes.
trade your course or business coaching or whatever it is you're doing, nutrition, with a photographer. Um, so it's this joint thing. You guys could,
Exactly.
promote each other on social media. There's just so many opportunities for, coming together and collaborating.
Absolutely. I completely agree. Okay, Robin. So, oh my gosh, you shared so much golden nuggets about business, about what you did to grow your business. And now I kind of want to shift a little bit and talk about the seasons of work and seasons of motherhood.
Yeah.
And I know that you have done an incredible job with helping people find balance physically. Now,
Mm.
tell us how you find that balance in your life, emotionally, and really like with your family.
Yeah, that's such a huge part of it, isn't it? It's
Yes.
central to
Yeah.
what we're trying to do as moms here, trying to build businesses. There's this saying that you, I'm not going to get it right, but you teach what you need to know or something. You teach what you need to learn. And I think that's one reason, like, I'm so passionate about balance and life balance and exercise balance and all of that, is just because I'm always trying to find that in my own life, and iterating seems to come up a lot. Um, and so for me, I would say it's never perfect. But one thing I have figured out in life is, well, not in life, but so far, is just this concept of seasons has been really powerful for
Mm-hmm.
me as a mom and for my marriage. Whether that be like on a small scale, like a month long season,
Mm-hmm.
or like this year or two as a
Yeah.
season. So one way that plays out for us is, like, for example, right now we are gearing up to launch a big free Pilates challenge. And we do this every year. So for me, February 1, basically to the end of March, is a very busy season.
Yeah.
And so it can be very tempting for me during that time to feel like my mom work life balance is off, because I'm working more than usual. I'm
Yeah.
working on the couch at night more than I want to in a perfect world. But when my husband and I step back and we know, like, this is a season, this is a project, this is a thing, this is not forever. But I think that's kind of the key, is to make sure that at the end of that season, you come back together and reevaluate and say, okay, now what do we shift for the next few months? And that can really take a lot of the stress, because if we're not looking from that bigger picture, then every day I could feel really like, this is not how I want it to look, right? I'm working too much. I'm too busy. Um, I'm too stressed. This is not how I want it to be. And then that adds up day after day. But when you're looking at it from like, okay, we know this, February and March is always crazy. We need a little more childcare. a little more grace with ourselves,
Yeah.
a little more focused on our weekend family time, a little less social probably because I
Mm-hmm.
need to hone in on work and kids. So there's probably less friend dates happening these next 2 months.
Yeah.
Just that concept of looking at seasons has really been helpful for us as a family to adjust.
Okay, so I love the concept of taking a step back and looking at the whole picture. Oh my gosh, like I have a huge wall calendar that takes up like half my wall that is has a whole year. And when you write little events like, you know, speaking events, speaking engagement, or like a launch timeline or whatever, they look so much smaller on such a big scale when you look at the whole year together. And I
Uh-huh.
love that. You're so right. I just want to, again, like, I totally agree with you. When you're in the thick of it, you really only see today or this week, and you're beating yourself up like, oh my gosh, I'm such a horrible mother today. Like, honestly, say that to myself sometimes when I'm like really, and that is horrible. Like, the negative self talk is, it
Mm-hmm.
will just shut you down. And so I love that. Take a step back. So, Robin, you mentioned in the beginning that you really work on the mindset. And I know so many of us moms beat ourselves up and have like this really um, not very healthy mindset sometimes. And I would love if you can talk about that.
Yeah. One of the mottos, unofficial mottos within my membership site,
Mm,
the Balanced Life Sisterhood, has become grace over guilt. And
love
we
that.
all just, you'll see it in our Facebook groups
Yes.
every day. It just gets, someone will be like, calling grace over guilt today, you know? And it's that concept of we just feel so guilty so often, whether it's because we said we were going to do a workout and we skipped it, or because we ate more chocolate cake than we wanted to,
Yeah. Yeah.
or because we've been just this morning, I am trying to, we're trying to hire someone for my team, and I'm down on my computer sending emails. My 3-year-old asking me to play a game with her, and her feelings are hurt, and it's so easy to be like, oh my gosh, look at me. I'm on my computer. She wants to play. I'm a bad mom. Um,
Yeah.
just that guilt cycle that
Yeah.
we get caught in. And so I come at that a lot from an exercise perspective,
Mm-hmm.
but it's all connected, right? Because you really can't separate the two. So I'm really big on just that idea of starting fresh every morning. Sometimes we
Yeah.
think guilt, like the more guilty we make ourselves feel, the more we beat ourselves up, then we'll change. Like we think that guilt will be the catalyst for change, but it's not.
Yeah.
Guilt is not
Yeah.
motivating. Shame is not motivating. It actually keeps you down. So learning to release that guilt and just say, like, go easier on yourself
Yeah.
and just say, you know what, I made a mistake, or tomorrow's a fresh start. Stop looking backwards. Then you
Exactly.
can get that forward momentum and start making those positive shifts every day.
I love that so much. It's like really living in the moment because, like, we had a conversation before we went live. It's so hard. For me, it was especially really hard when my kids were younger. It's like I was always thinking, oh, I can't wait for them to grow up. Oh, I can't wait for them to start walking. Oh, I can't wait for them to like go potty on their own. Like all of these things. But really, like you guys, my kids are 8 and 6 now, and it's heartbreaking to go back and think like, oh my gosh, I was living in the future when I was supposed to live in the present. And so now sometimes I live in the past because I'm always beating myself up for that. But really, living in the present is so important, Robin. Thank you so much. So, oh my gosh, like I can talk to you forever. You are such an inspiration. You have so much wisdom in you. But please share with us where we can find you.
Yeah, you can find me. I'm all over the place online. So you can find me on my website, which is thebalancedlifeonline.com. On Instagram, I'm just at the balanced life, and that's probably my favorite form of social media. I have the most fun there. Yeah, and then we're doing a big free challenge that's kicking off on March 6th. So
How can we sign
um,
up for that?
yeah, you can basically, if you go right to my website, you'll
Okay.
find it. Or it's thebalancedlifeonline.com/21 days of Pilates. It's free. It's 21 days, just 10 minutes per day. So for all you mamas out there, I'm a mama of a 1-year old and a 3-year-old, and I'm running a business from home. I totally get how hard it is to
Yeah.
fit in exercise. And so I'm really big about small steps. And I have to do this for myself. Again, teach what you need, right? And I know others can relate. So it's going to be 10 minutes a day, and you'll be amazed by just taking 10 minutes to kind of get down on your mat, shift your mindset, think about how you're doing physically and mentally, how that can have a huge ripple effect in your life. So it starts on March 6th, and it's going to be fun.
Thank you so much, Robin. And I will link that in the comments and in the show notes below. So, again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for being here. You are absolutely amazing and inspire me so
Oh,
much.
thank you. It's totally my pleasure.
Thank you so much. All right, ladies, was that amazing or what? Thank you so much for being here live and interacting in the comments. I love watching all your comments, and I'm sorry we didn't get to the questions today, but I just want to thank you so much for being here, for taking your time out of your busy life and spending it here with us. I hope you will join us live next Monday at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. I have a really incredible mompreneur on as well. So it's going to be lots of fun. I hope that you will join us. If you could, please sign up to our email list. And the way you can do that is you can also get a free PDF of my 5 biggest mistakes that I've made in my business. And it's so funny. I say free PDF. Oh my gosh, like the information is readily available online. But I just wrote it, and I just wanted to inspire you and encourage you to not make the same mistakes that I've done. So if you go to mompreneurshow.com/5 mistakes, you will find that PDF there. Go ahead and sign up, and it will be emailed right into your inbox. All right, I want to say thank you so much for being live on Mompreneur Show, because this is the show that helps you win in business without losing at home. I am Vicky Lashenko signing off, and hope to see you next Monday. Bye-bye.